Blog Talk Radio.
Yes, yes. Welcome to another episode of the Underground Railroad Radio Show. Today we got a special show today. We got the brother Panic with us today, and the topic of today's show is conspiracy versus spirituality. Now, conspiracy has become conspiracy is almost what was once sort of an underground thing. It's sort of becoming mainstream, especially after 9/11, especially after everything that went down with everything that went down with Bush and Bin Laden, and now Obama being in office. I mean, there's conspiracies running rampant everywhere. So, is it good for us? Is it bad for us? Should we focus more on spirituality? We gonna let y'all decide that. Yeah, we'll talk about that with y'all. And we're gonna talk about that with the brother Panic. Let's get brother Panic here. Is the brother Panic here? Brother Panic.
Hey, what's up, bro? You can hear me?
Yes. How you doing, brother Panic?
Hey, what's up, Rich?
Just introduce the show. As I said, told the people today's topic is conspiracy versus spirituality.
Right.
Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? It's sort of become mainstream after 9/11.
Right.
What's your whole... Now, I've heard you on a previous show talk on this, and I thought that you gave one of the best breakdowns that I've heard on this issue. So what's your whole general synopsis on this conspiracy thing that's taken over the conscious community right now?
Well, you hit it right on the head. It had its little place in consciousness. It was a very little corner where people would deal with it, even around 9/11. The Alex Jones, Maxwell Jordan, David Icke. But now, especially with Obama, it has come and taken over. Now, there's a few reasons for this, because first and foremost, metaphysics, the internet has now caught up with a lot of metaphysical teaching. So anybody who had to rely on the lecture circuit for metaphysics now can find it at their fingertips on the internet. Or on Amazon, they could get all of these books that were formerly out of print or hard to get. So a lot of lecturers have to look for something to say to keep people entertained. So simultaneously after 9/11, the conspiracy thing started getting bigger because white people actually got aware. So this became their Black Power movement consciousness.
Wow.
I'm sorry, their consciousness, this conspiracy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now, while this was going on, since the metaphysics was drying up, because no one was getting into the spiritual aspect of dealing with the current events of end-time spiritual events, seems this community has jumped on this conspiracy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now, with the conspiracy thing comes something which even goes far beyond the conspiracy thing, which is fear. And that's what I think is at the heart of why this conspiracy thing is just out of control, because of the fear. Now,
so you saying the conspiracy movement is based on fear. Now, it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people that watch the Illuminati tapes, they're like, man, oh shit, I'm scared to leave my house, man. Oh man,
mm-hmm.
my TV's watching me. Oh man,
right.
I gotta put. I know one brother. He walk around with a hat on to protect himself with the chemtrails. He has
right.
5 diodes in his pocket. He has three copper bracelets on. I mean, this brother's fully armored from head to toe to protect himself against all of these things that we are told that is out there. So I told myself one day, I said, damn, eventually does it become mind over matter? I mean, because we got to watch out for the food. I mean, everywhere you turn around, we got to watch out for something. We can't eat this. We can't eat that. Don't drink spring water. Don't drink tap water. Don't drink distilled water. Don't look up in the sky. Don't look this way. Don't do that. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do after a while?
Well, I mean, you'll go absolutely crazy, as you see niggas are starting to go crazy by listening to all that kind of shit. I mean, we can start with chemtrails. I mean, niggas been telling you they've been spraying chemtrails since the goddamn 70s. I mean, somebody needs to tell me, well, what the fuck is happening then? Because I haven't seen nothing happen. They're saying it's fucked up, but I haven't seen anything that it says is doing, or nor has it been doing it. I mean, if they're going to spray that shit, they need to put some goddamn cocoa mango up in that motherfucker. Some frankincense or something. You know what I mean? Give me something. And if they're spraying some shit where you could wear a hat and it doesn't affect you, what the fuck? You know, it's ridiculous. What it is because people are holding on to these things, their hats, their diodes, and all these things that do work. They do assist you, but they should be assisting you if you have a core, if you're tapping into your core spiritual energy. If you ain't tapping into it, they just become trinkets that you're putting your energy into to protect you, all your energy. All these things should be working with you, not for you.
Mm-hmm.
So at the heart of this fear thing or this conspiracy thing is still, at this point, especially at this point, is just become another distraction, another thing to talk about, another thing to discuss that hasn't gotten you into your spirituality to get you activating things in yourself that bypass all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, originally, most people got into consciousness to actually get away from fear. You can start at the core of this shit. The Willie Lynch papers is all about how to induce fear into a slave that will allow you to be able to control him for years to come. So they know this so-called Illuminati, white man, powers that be, that fear is the key. Doing nothing else but instilling fear in these, you know, in the regular nigga. So paying rent is a terrorist act against you, jobs, or you losing your job. So most people got into consciousness to get away from that, and they had solutions. They were health solutions, crystals, meditation, mantras, law solutions. But all that shit's run out. All that type of shit is run out. So what's been left over is the conspiracy, the fear, you know, and even then, when people were in the lecture circuit, they would tell you all this conspiracy stuff early on, but they would at least end off with it won't work, though. Now that's over. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers was walking out paralyzed. There was a young guy, and I thought I would never hear this, and I ain't even been listening to this lecture circuit that long. He asked Delbert Blair, he's like, the only problem I have with this information, it scares me to death.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, God damn, you know, it scares you. He said, what can we do? So Delbert Blair said to him, well, you actually have to mind control yourself through self-hypnotism, I think he said. So he said you actually have to mind control yourself. So now basically that's what magic and getting into your spirituality is all about. That's what all the hieroglyphs are all about. That's what all of those, you like the candle, the veve, the sigil, all of these symbols are for you to use your technique to mind control yourself to create your own reality as opposed to creating a reality or going along with the reality that someone's creating for you, which is one of fear.
Mm-hmm.
So as simple as that. So the spiritual technique, your spiritual technology is what's supposed to get you out of fear. Now, let me tell you, Wayne Chandler, I asked him because I've seen him teach on this before, and I'm going to read you something that Wayne Chandler said. He said, I just asked him, well, what would fear do to you physically and possibly spiritually? And this is what he wrote. He said, some items regarding fear are in the area of the brain and identifies and registers fear. It's called the amygdala glands. Ironically, these glands are also responsible for locking in our inner and outer and most deepest feelings and divine connections of purity in the pituitary of the third eye. So what he's saying is fear alone, it will lock you out of your third eye, out of your pituitary gland, pineal glands, just by indulging in this fear. So that alone tells you the fear cuts you off from your spirituality. The fear is then stored in the kidneys, which activates the adrenal glands, which stops the kidney from their flight or fight response, and a release of cortisone and adrenaline, amping the body way beyond its point of natural balance regarding circulation of the blood and lymph, as well as overheating of internal organs. And I remember him talking about that before, that the adrenal glands are right over the kidneys where fear is stored. And cortisone and adrenaline is constantly in your system because you're constantly in survival mode or constantly being scared, and it alters your mind in a negative way, and you can be mind controlled easily because you have a constant flow of adrenaline 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So for the conscious community who's supposed to be getting past all of this and have tapped into the health and the crystal and all of this, this is totally opposite of what it is. It's been built up since around 1992 or 3 when they first started filming it. It's totally opposite.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about the people who have that generally, now, you know, I'm a DVD vendor, you know, I'm a video art film lectures. The people that have made conspiracy mainstream, like, and I'm talking about like the white boys, like Alex Jones,
right.
David Icke. Now, when I first got into the whole consciousness thing, this is what I gravitated toward originally. The more spiritual teachings, I couldn't understand, so I gravitated toward David Icke, Alex Jones first. So, what are your thoughts on these white boys that come out with you know, the reptilian agenda, and Obama's a reptilian, and this one and that one? What's your whole take on that?
Those are all good as gateways, very good as gateways, but ultimately it should lead you to our story in the situation. You know, I've seen a lot of their stuff and like, ooh, they're the reptilians. But then when I read our story, then I realized what the reptilians are is just the people who access Kundalini, which is just us. So so most people get in it to find one reason, and they get stuck on that one reason. The key is it's an ever-evolving process. And it's an ever-evolving process. So I would say most people who would be attracted to these gateway things aren't ready for a certain level of spirituality, but they damn sure have the ability to get there. But it would be all up to them. You know, it's about people getting stuck, and one of the things that gets you stuck is fear. Fear is paralyzed. More what Wayne Chandler wrote. He wrote Dr. David R. Hawkins in his book Power versus Force measures fear at the vibratory rate of 150 to 200, which is low base vibratory frequency, compared to unconditional love, which is at 500. The HeartMath Institute did a research on fear based upon emotions and found that when fear is present in a strand of DNA, it tightens and shrivels and becomes rigid and inflexible. So when the presence of happiness and love, gratitude, they unwind, lengthen, more like a sponge for positive energy coursing through the human body. So with that being said, when you inject fear into your learning process, whatever it is, when you inject fear into it, the strands of our own DNA tighten, shrivel, become rigid and inflexible. So you can't even learn with fear. And it's hard enough, even in a love environment, for people to move on and in their evolution within all the lectures that come before you. So it is good as a start, but you are absolutely supposed to overthrow that shit. You get what I mean? Anyone getting stuck there, you know, is on a real low level, getting stuck there. Coming in the game, you need to hear something alternative, something to shock you, something that needs to tell you this shit is wrong. That's why so many people got conscious during 9/11. Because that was a shock, you know. So when people got shocked, they had to find an alternative. So when all the shit didn't add up, the conspiracy shit goes right along. They didn't really hit the Pentagon. How come at 12:02 that wasn't there, but this was there at 12:05? All that shit is supposed to get you to thinking. Mm-hmm. But then you're supposed to go into your esoteric, your occult, your metaphysical information, and then these things are supposed to trigger a process in you. Most people get stuck in a format where these people become reverends to them. The same motif they had in church or Islam or wherever it was, they feel they need to get out to. They bring that same motif to this information and they don't self-study. Now, ultimately, it comes down to practical application and interfacing with yourself. The only thing I've seen that you actually could do this is through forms of magic. You actually get to know thyself. Now, all other things are included. Nothing's excluded. Meditation. Maybe you could do whatever with your diet. Nothing's really excluded, but all these things should be for the purpose of yourself, as opposed to saying, I'm eating that because that's what the people say we should be eating. Eat it because it does something for you to alter your consciousness, to get you to realize something within yourself. Magic is that process that gets you to realize these things within yourself, and the fears are only your own fears. These guys are given the information, and most people are scared anyway, and they pick up on this information, and they get stuck in it. It's only stronger because it's coming from people that you trust over the years.
So tell me this: why shouldn't we be fearful if they got all of these weapons? If after they did Hurricane Katrina, if they got I heard people say they got weapons that could shrink you to 12 inches big. Why shouldn't we be scared if it's just little old me against the big strong Illuminati and they got all this fancy dancy technology? Why shouldn't we be fearful? Why?
That's exactly it, because people think it's the big old Illuminati. Where the fuck are they at? Mm-hmm. There is no big old Illuminati. And even the mere fact that we think they got all these weapons, the mere fact that we think they can shrink us to the size of a goddamn, I heard that shit too. They can shrink us to the size of a goddamn baby. I heard that they got chips in you where you ain't got to even talk. You could think, and they know what the fuck you saying. I mean, all that shit says is, maybe that's the wolf ticket. Maybe that's the bullshit right there. You get what I'm saying? Maybe that's all they got is this goddamn front. Get what I'm saying? See, remember like back in the days when a nigga come to school with a fucking karate suit and some karate slippers? And you thought this nigga was a bad motherfucker. Don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? Seen the Game of Death a couple of times. And you like, oh, this motherfucker's a bad motherfucker. That's all you saying. What the fuck is? Listen to this shit. If Kanye, look, if the Illuminati is big and bad, and Kanye said this about the Bush, and they done killed Kanye's mother, all they did was cut her ass up on the table. What happened to the ray gun? You get what I'm saying? What happened to the goddamn chip that was supposed to blow up in her head when she was at goddamn Macy's? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. All they did was just cut up on it, if they even did the shit. You know, and we saying Illuminati, it's just probably some disgruntled white boys or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And it's just ridiculous. It's out of control.
So you're saying, and I heard you say this before, do you think that by us thinking they're powerful and by us buying the wolf tickets that they're selling us, because of the law of attraction, we create these scenarios for them? Do you think that's what's going on? We give them the
absolutely.
Energy.
Yes, absolutely. Especially based upon we the motherfuckers with the melanin and the creative ability. It behooves them to get us to believe some goddamn shit, any goddamn thing. That's what the whole movies are about. That's why they always the hero, always the knight in shining armor. They're trying to get us to believe their story, which is our story. And niggas believe it. Niggas be up in the goddamn theater cheering for Tom Cruise and all that kind of shit. Because it is, everything they do is only to convince you that that they are you, and you are trying to be them, trying to get economically sound and all that kind of shit. And then on the other hand, say the dollar's only worth 10 cents, but everybody trying to make that, make that dollar. We're so busy trying to become them, and they're trying to figure out how to become niggas. So while they do that, the best they got is to create this illusion for you, this illusion. So on the low level, it was for the masses to keep them in a state of fear, and the conscious was out of that fear because the conscious was supposed to be grabbing hold of their ancient technology, crystals and this and his meditations and all sorts of oils, whatever the hell was going on, but ultimately was supposed to be magic. And moving towards this technology was supposed to be creating our own reality, destroying these levels of ignorance. Now this shit has become the greatest cheerleader of this ignorance. We're creating their reality. It's just as simple as that. If we were boxers and they were our opponent, I don't know no boxers that train talking about the goddamn how great the left hook of the opponent is. They're talking about how to get around the left hook. And that's what was going on, at least what I've seen on the lecture circuit, no longer. Now it's talking about how the prowess of the next man, which that man has never shown that prowess, more beyond you just eating Twinkies and Wonder Bread in the hood. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
what is this law of attraction? Could you that we're referring to? Could you briefly explain that?
Yeah. Where it came up first is out of the Kabbalion, and it's actually one of the laws out of the 7 Hermetic laws, and those are the laws of Tahuti's. It's our shit. So the law of attraction is basically just a system. It's just a system of magnetizing what it is you want. Now, all that shit's been in the secret, but I know I did a tape way before that secret was out, and you told me that was one of the tapes you seen back in the days with me. And what was amazing was when you told me that when you brung it up to a brother, he was like, "Oh, that's some white bullshit." So I'm like, "What?"
That was my next question. A lot of our people, they're not into that. They don't want to. And it's funny. It's funny because this law is the law that governs our life every second of every minute of every day of every year. Like we thinking over 50,000 thoughts a day, but yet, what I mean. When I say, yo, man, you got to take control of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. All that correlates with each other. Our people's like, yeah, I already know that shit, but their life is fucked up. So how do you know that shit if your life is fucked up, and why aren't you interested in taking control of it? It's like our people go straight by that. It's like a white phenomenon. Right. So why is it a white phenomenon, and in the black community, it's just, they just pass it right by?
Because motherfuckers got so intellectual and so black versus white, they don't even realize that white people are... They're so much trying to think that they this great, big, bad motherfucking enemy. They don't even realize them silly motherfuckers is trying to be you. So they have to find creative ways to take your information, make it like it's something new. The secret and shit. Like it's something new. And Galileo and these motherfuckers, these hot-ass crackers was fucking with it. They have to make it seem like something new. So to you'll just say, oh, that's some cracker shit, but it's actually your shit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's actually your shit. So it's mind control. If you want to know how they disarming you, this is how they disarming you. They're taking away all your spiritual weapons slowly and as much as they can. And it's not really going to work in the long run. It's not really going to work. It's just a mind game that we buying into right now. But so most of those brothers who can't vibrate with I want to talk more on some occult shit. But see, the real key to this shit is your spirit is always guiding you. That's why you can vibrate with the information. And that's why you are the one that can hear the shit, and your spirit is telling you, you know that's your information. If his spirit is not telling him that's his information, it's definitely not up to you or anyone else to convince him. This path, you have to convince yourself. So he has to find it. He has to find his information himself, the same way you found your information for yourself. And that's really the key. And somebody wanted me to say, my man Ogun, I think he's from North Carolina, he wanted to say this quite simply, also that we the damn Illuminati. Even the name, the goddamn Illuminati, the illuminated ones, is our shit. So once again, it's another example of them trying to still take what's yours and make it them, and we still sitting around going, the Illuminati, when it's you. You get what I'm saying? In the goddamn first place. You know, it's you in the goddamn first place, and we sitting around talking about the goddamn Illuminati. Always trying to take your shit. You know, the reptilians are coming. We the fucking reptilians, the most primal motherfuckers on the planet. Reptilian force is only the primal force. So it's all us. You know, my man Ogun wanted to say that. You know, like I said, I want to get into more heavier metaphysical shit.
Well, what is true spirituality to you? Now we're talking about conspiracy. We've dealt with conspiracy. We dealt with the fear. You know, it's important not to be fearful when we're getting into this information because the fear shuts us down. So the reverse of that is the empowerment, the spirituality, things that we could apply in our everyday life. So now what's going on with the spiritual aspect? What is true spirituality to you?
All right, spirituality, basically, I mean, anything dealing with what's not apparent, basically. Spirit is spiral. The universe is in a spiral. So getting into the spiral of that getting into the same spiral of that universe, or getting connected to the whole, if you will, is spirituality. So quite simply, it's not really that deep. Playing fucking Ring Around the Rosie is spiritual. Kids playing on the monkey bars is spiritual. Anything that you can kind of feel a sensation or alters an emotion or a feeling from another reality or your greater reality, another dimension, you can say that as well, is a spiritual reaction. So if you take it to the next step, any spiritual system that you're in, what you're trying to do is control those spiritual feelings, sensations, or realities into a system for your agenda. So spirituality is anything beyond the physical, beyond the apparent, which most people got so stuck in the physical, they don't even want to hear anything spiritual. Now, the people who are spiritual understand that that there's a bigger world, a bigger holistic understanding of who it is you are. The lowest understanding of yourself is this physical reality. So most people only tap into their lower self. So all of these systems, all of these magical systems, and there's books, you know, from floor to the ceiling on it. All of these magical systems are ways to tap into the invisible part of yourself that is the power base from yourself, that is running this thing, which is the battery that runs this thing. So most people are just still trying to deal with how you get a gun, you know what I mean? What you're gonna eat, what should I wear, which aunt goes with which color kente cloth, and think that it's actually that spirituality. You get what I mean? The look of your thing. What you're trying to do is tap into the deeper into your subconscious mind, which is the world of the real, or the world of you could say spirit, because the subconscious mind represents the unseen. Only to have self-realizations, and this supersedes any of the bullshit that's going on Earth. And usually, when you get into that power base, When you get into that power base, your earth events start to straighten up because you are now creating your own reality. You're now creating your own reality. And that's what a lot of these magical systems, the mythology was for. And most of it was left in symbol form because the symbols speak louder than actual niggas arguing on the corner. So the symbols speak louder. So you would take the symbol, and the mythology is nothing but a story of symbols, and use these things to mind control yourself back into your reality. That's why these things were left behind. So like Delbert Blair said, you need to hypnotize yourself, or you need to mind control yourself. When the brother asked, how do you get past this fear shit? Well, that's what all them symbols are for, to start mind controlling yourself back into your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will start to realize you're connected to a greater reality.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned magic. What do you mean by magic? And because when you say magic, a lot of people they'll say, you know, that nigga talking that spooky shit, or you spooked out, or that shit don't work. You got to come back to Earth. Taxes on Mars. Why don't you come back to Earth and focus on paying your bills and taking care of your kids and this and that? So when you say magic, what is magic?
I mean,
do?
Most people try, you know, they categorize the science, you know, and they're just painted with a broad brush. The first nigga to put gravy on grits was a great magical operation. You get what I'm saying? It's not really that serious. Niggas is doing magic all the fucking time.
All the time,
all the time. It's constant. Well, here's some magical shit. Remember when niggas used to mix potato chips, pretzels, and all that shit in one bag? What the fuck are you doing? But now they sell that shit. You get what I'm saying? Snapple ain't nothing but Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? you know, that kind of shit. It has got to be magical for niggas to survive this long out this motherfucker. So no. What it is using the will of your mind to create your own reality. That's all it really is. It's not really that deep. It's not really that spooky. You get what I'm saying? And spooky is only shit that you don't know. Again, another aspect of fear. And fear's use is actually to keep you out of shit your spirit ain't ready for. So when someone says it's spookism and all that, they only explain that they're not ready for something. Their soul is not ready to deal with something. So it's not really that deep. There's all forms of magical there's all forms of magical techniques, all to get you to create your own reality. That's all you're really trying to do. And if anybody who's physical who would say it's spookism or you going to Mars, they're trying to do the same goddamn thing, create their own reality, but they're using such weak energy to do it because they're trying to use the physical to move the physical. It works, but there's so many other physical forces against you. So the bigger power base is actually your mind. And your divine mind. You can't call yourself God and then shit on your own mind. You get what I'm saying? Everything is from the mind of God here. This whole reality is an unfolding of your mind. Even the reality that most are saying they're trying to fix is still an unfolding of their mind. So the mind is all. You get what I'm saying? All that shit's in the wisdom of Tahuti as well. The mind is all. I think that's in the Kabbalion shit as well. Anyway, so what you're trying to use is other. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me say this. A person may say, you call yourself God, nigga, how you God? If you God, make some money appear. Or fly, nigga, why you fucked up, nigga? Why you in the condition you in if you God? What do you have to say to the people that get mad? Because people will get real mad.
Right.
If you go out there and say, you say the black man is God, the black woman is goddess. You ain't God, nigga. You can't walk through walls or this and that. What do you have to say to that?
Whoever said God was supposed to walk through fucking walls, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Whoever said God was supposed to make fucking money, that the next minute they'll say it's not even worth nothing and it's invented anyway. What is your God powers? You get what I'm saying? I mean, somebody needs to explain to me, if I ain't God, how the fuck are we even talking about consciousness when they saying there's chemtrails and all this shit that they saying happen? They could turn you into babies. How the fuck are we on the phone now talking? That to me is proof enough. I mean, those are like silly, childish conversations. You get what I'm saying? You know, I don't even know how to answer that beyond, well, you need to realize what God is. You get what I'm saying? You need to realize what God is. And that's only through self-exploration. You know what I mean? And, motherfucker, if you want money to appear, just go to fucking work. You know what I mean? Go get you a job. Ta-da, voila. There you go. That's what God told you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Go make money appear. You're in the third dimensional reality, and you're dealing with the rules of it as God in the third dimensional reality. And the fact that you can't make money appear and all of these kind of things appear only tells you the condition you're motherfucking in. So anyone doing magic is trying to realize a greater condition than the bullshit that's around them. You get what I'm saying? You know, where the fuck are you going when you die?
Mm-hmm.
You give them say, I'm saying, well, what you gonna do when you die then? Make money appear?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's a fragmented form of thinking. It's the thinking that anybody that's what someone from church would say. Mm-hmm. So if you get, it's the same person in church. If someone's conscious of saying that, take your ass back to church. Take your ass back to church. If someone conscious is saying that, because that's the same thought process you know, a Christian would have. You know, and you have to realize what God is. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, it's a self-realization, and it is a multi-layered understanding. So your definition and your realization doesn't even have to link up with my realization of what it is. So it don't matter. So whatever that person says is God, so be it. You know what I mean? If that's where he's at with it, so be it. I see motherfuckers outside praying to fire hydrants. You know what I mean? Make money appear. You know, it's ridiculous. It's nonsense.
Okay. Once again, this is the Underground Railroad Radio Show. Today's guest is Brother Panic. The topic today, once again, we're dealing with conspiracy, and we're dealing with spirituality. We're dealing with fear. We're dealing with what empowers us on an everyday basis. The call-in number is 646-727-2039. And if you missed part of today's broadcast, it will be replayed on my website, and the website is www.undergroundrailroadnet.com. Now, if somebody wanted to contact you, Brother Panic, how would they be able to contact you?
Well, most of the people know me from MySpace. MySpace.com/PANDEO DEMON, Pandemon. So MySpace.com/Pandemon, PANDEO DEMON. You can contact me there, and yeah, I usually answer questions there or whatever, you know.
Okay, let's you want to take a few calls?
Yeah, please. Let's
see what questions the people have out there. Let's connect the call out here. Let's see how we do this here. Yes, hello, caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Do you have a question for the Brother Panic?
Hi, Brother Panic. This is Jasmine calling up out of Brooklyn.
All right.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? My question, could you get a little bit into sex magic? Because what me and my king did was that we, had a focus on what we wanted. And we thought about it during that situation. And what we did was, it was like a couple of days later, we was focusing on us getting a better place to live. And like a couple of days later, affordable housing had called us, which was amazing. It was like 2 or 3 days later. So could you talk a little bit more about sex magic?
Absolutely. See, that's exactly what quite simple, that's the goddamn laws of attraction. Well, just while you're in that sexual energy, is some of the most powerful energy because you're tapping into a lot of other dimensions, if you will. You know, people get putting numbers or whatever on it, you know, 9 dimensions, blah, blah, blah. So ultimately, if you can synchronize your thoughts, you can actually pull anything you like from the ethers. And since this is such a dense reality, it usually takes a little bit longer. So with the sex magic, with that masculine and feminine energy together, you can pull it into the reality, and you can come sexual kung fu. You can bring anything you want here through the black woman. The same gateway that she is for babies being born, she's a gateway for anything material being born or being manifest or made manifest by you. When you focus your thoughts, and simply that's all you need to do. And it's not that spooky because most people want to have sex anyway. Why don't you have it with a higher purpose? You know, most of the sex magic that I was doing, and it depends on who the person is, what we try to tap into as opposed to something physical is into greater realities, greater understanding, spiritual breakthroughs, things like that. So there's so many levels you could come to realize, you know what I mean, beyond just the house. But the shit works. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, no one needs to cheerlead magic. The ones who've been dealing with it know the shit works, or why do it? So here's an example. If someone was to sit and say, well, make some money or make this happen or this happen, here's a sister who's telling you right there they done fucked themselves into a new house. Ta-da! So, I mean, it's something you have to come to realize. You get what I'm saying? And in fact, when you have that mentality, you're actually cutting yourself off from a magical reality. Mm-hmm. It's nothing no one can convince you of. It's something you have to realize. Mm-hmm. Something you have to realize. C. Freeman L. said, if you are still in a faith or belief system, and he's not talking about believing in what you know, just a belief system, blind belief, your higher mind won't even let you into the shit. You can't even get in with a contemplating mind. So coming in with logic, reasoning, and trying to deduct your way into shit is not the key. You got to come in as the knower. Mm-hmm. So again, to that sister, yeah, that's just the start. Especially, you know, evidently, if that shit is working, shit, they should be doing nothing but fucking. Mm-hmm. Nothing but fucking. You know.
So you're saying both you and your queen will have to be thinking the same thoughts. You're saying it's synchronization of the thoughts. To do it, yeah. I mean, you can sit down and just have a goal. You get what I'm saying? Look, we need to, the phone bill is due, shit like that. You know what I mean? And ultimately, it's really coming through her. Like I said, she's the one, same kind of way she brings children here into this material world. All this other shit is the same birth rate. Sex is in the mind. That's what they'll tell you that. Pituitary pineal is in the mind. So anything you want creation, if you can get her in that zone, and the best sex magic is when you're in love. You can do it with a hooker, but when you're in love, if you can get her in that zone and remain focused on what it is the goal is, you can bring birth to whatever it is you want, whatever it is you need. Most people deal with the material thing, but that's fine. You know what I mean? You can take it the other way to have spiritual revelation and breakthrough. So that's damn sure something you can use together. All of these are techniques to tap into what is unknown in your mind. All of these are techniques for that. So anything from lighting a candle to lighting incense, it alters anything that alters your perception of this reality. This reality is actually in the way. So I would say the health and all of that, perfect health or alkaline diet, which I would recommend. Alkaline diet, because somebody asked me about this, and it's in this book, Psychomancy. It is actually our diet, and it
it's more electric. So when you eat it, you're more psychic and all that. So I would take the spirulina just for more for the ESP shit, not just to walk around here, feeling like I could skip better than the next person. Just for the psychic abilities that come online when you're in an alkaline diet. So that would be my goal for health. Anything that's going to get my body, not let my body or my humanity be an interruption for me trying to actually do the spiritual work, to find out spiritual breakthroughs that don't exist in books, to try to ever find out more consciousness. So health, crystals, all of those are tools in that. Sex magic is just one of them. Sex magic is real powerful. So by synchronizing the thoughts, synchronizing the breath, and you can Google stuff on technique, but ultimately, you can make eye contact with your woman. Well, I'll tell you the shit that worked. Breathing each other's breath worked for me. We bring real deities through. We've created deities that serve purpose. Breathing the breath, synchronizing, and when the woman's on top, the same Osirian. When you laid out like Osiris, let's say like in the astral world, the feminine is more active and the masculine is more docile. Where it's switched around in the physical. So you let her get on top, and anything we wanted, and most of the women I deal with, anything we get right in that position. Let her ass get on top and become active. Get into her zone, and anything you want to happen. Like I said, I'll go for more of the spiritual breakthroughs. More the I'll ask more questions directly to the motherfucker. Now it's at a point now where I can talk to any of these niggas just like I'm talking to you, and so it's not necessarily for me to do that. I'll ask bigger questions with the sex magic, and it only really goes along with a holistic magical lifestyle. So I live a magical lifestyle, and I look for the spiritual interpretation, which there is for everything that's physical when you're dealing in that world. That's the spiritual world, or the world of the unseen. It all trickles down into this world. It trickles in the forms of symbols, or sometimes in actual events. And your job would be to decode symbols and back to their spiritual interpretation. So anybody dealing with the world of the unseen becomes sharper in the metaphysics that everyone's trying to be, these top metaphysicians beyond the physical. By dealing with it, you need to be in interpreting it and decoding it. Ultimately, to be active in it is the magic thing. The metaphysical is a great definition of the unseen world. To participate in the unseen world would be, and like I said, you lump it in one sum when you say magic, but there's so many forms of magic. Sex magic, path working, sigil magic, meditation, herb magic, Egyptian magic.
We might have to do a show just on magic. It's because it's so, there's so much out
there.
Well,
that's actually what I do. I mean, that's actually, niggas is texting me with crazy shit. Like
let me take what the phone lines is lighting up. Let me take one.
Let's take some questions because people are going to want to ask about magic. I want to really get into some shit some solution shit really.
Okay, let me 718 here. Hold on. Yes, hello, caller. Yes, hello.
Hello. I know some of them just listen sometimes too.
Yeah.
I want to really get into some shit.
Yeah, we're gonna take another caller. See what's going on. 206 area code. Yes, hello, caller.
Yeah, hey, how you guys doing, man? Hey,
how you doing?
AG out of Seattle, man. Hey, what's up, Panic, man?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Chance to ask you a question personally, man.
Yeah.
I just now came into this knowledge, you know. I just now was introduced to Bobby Hemming, and that's how I got informed about you and whatnot, man. But I'm like in a kind of a situation, man. I've been dually diagnosed with something called, what did she call that? Displaced, some kind of displaced identity disorder, some type of temper tantrum, whatever crap, and something else called bipolar. And they're trying to force me on all these medications and whatnot. And I'm like, man, caught up in the mix here, and I'm trying to get some insight on what I can do without the assistance of that synthetic stuff, you know. But I got some issues, man. You know, I smoke weed, I smoke cigarettes. You know, I got some issues. I got eating disorder, and I'm trying to fix all that. And you know, I'm fresh. I'm fresh out the pit. In other words, okay. So for an individual fresh out the pit, you know, have no inkling, just been informed, you know, just now coming into light and all this stuff. What can he do?
Yeah, the easiest thing you can do is get with these deities. These deities are actually formless. All of these, and the easiest ones to first get with is the Egyptian deities, maybe the Voodoo or the Orisha deities. If you read a little bit about them, they'll tell you their characteristics and what they heal and what they cure. So by calling on them, working with them, and working with them is only maybe putting up a picture, which allows them for a gateway in your house, pouring liquor, water for them, little things by getting to know them, calling on them, which is only calling on yourself, your own energy, and aspects of your DNA. Those deities will heal you. There was a sister, and real conscious now. She was telling me a story. You know, that she had this. You know, I'm sure it wasn't the same thing, but the same type of issues that you laid out, but worse. You know, they had her in straitjackets and all sorts of shit. You know, real drama. She said she just started reading about the Egyptian deities, you know, in the simple books, started working with them, calling on them, pictures, statues in the house, 100% fine, 100% conscious, and anything she was diagnosed with went away. They was trying to study her for a while, saying how you did it, how did it work, how did you do that, and of course she didn't tell them. So that's what these deities are for. Those were the cure-alls. Those were the things you would use to heal yourself, to fix yourself, all ailments, you know, any problems. So I would say what you would need to do is at least try to buy you some Egyptian books. Just email me, and I'll give you some good ones that you could get with. Start learning the deities. Start working with the deities. At least the Egyptian deities. There's many that you can work with. Just hit me on MySpace /Pandemon, Pandemon. Just hit me up there. Remind me who you are, and I'll give you a book or a couple of books, and I'll look some up that you can use to start working with these deities and some techniques that you can do, because all of these things are nothing but spirits. Any ailment is nothing, or disease is nothing but a spirit on your ass. So you have to get the spirit off. Now, some people will say they'll follow you through lifetimes, through karma, and that's why all of these things, whatever. You can get them shits off. Some people say you may have been cursed in another lifetime, or your family may have been, something may be put on them in another lifetime. That's all right. You still can get the shit off. You know, you need to, when you deal with the deities, what's going to happen is they're going to tell you the nature, the spiritual nature of where the ailment is actually coming from. And this is going to come through your intuition, through your realization, through your dreams or whatever. They're going to let you know you're going to have like an epiphany. Wait a minute, maybe this is happening because of X, Y, Z. So that'll be the revelation or the breakthrough. And then it would be up to you to keep working with that deity to supersede or to deal with whatever the emotion is that's oriented into what has turned into what's being diagnosed as the disease. And like I said, I don't know you that well, but it may be what they're calling disfriendly, depending on how it makes you feel. I don't know if it's, making you run, in the street naked or, anything that's ailing you, if it's that bad. But it may be an energy that's brewing up that when you deal with the deities and deal with this information that you're being guided to now, it may cultivate the energy up in you, and it may be you actually rising up. But if you're not, if you're not opening up those centers, which are easy to open, the pineal, understanding about the kundalini and things like that, it could turn back on you. So ultimately, it's real easy. Just study this information, and studying it only means read it, learn, have an enthusiasm like you sound like you have for it, and all in your spirit. That emotion or enthusiasm is actually what's going to open you up. Like Wayne Chandler said, love and unconditional love and all of this kind of thing vibrates at 500. Your DNA becomes a sponge. So when you approach the information with that same enthusiasm, that same love, without someone inducing you with fear and telling you ain't going to make it, you become that sponge for that information. Now, all you would have to do is learn your symbols, your deities and practice and these type of things, and you'll have the power to heal yourself.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? You'll have the power to heal yourself. In fact, that's what those things were there for. Just don't second guess yourself. Don't think that you're doing something wrong. Whatever, the best guide is whatever you feel. So if you feel, well, I need to start here, or like I said, I'll give you a few books, or you may even know some deities that as you said, you was watching Bobby Hemmett, so you may know some deities that you like that may not even be of the Egyptian or the Kamite thing. If that's what you may say, well, the voodoo thing always interests me. Let me just start to read and learn about them. So basically, by just reading and learning about them is enough. You don't have to intellectualize and know their goddamn number and decode this shit to the nth degree. You don't have to do that. You can get into that type of decoding and all of that, but just get to know them as a symbol and start talking to them motherfuckers and start telling them niggas, just like you telling a regular guy what you need from them. And the only thing you would have to do, you charge them up with just liquor, water, just put crystals around it, pictures or statues, or draw them motherfuckers, print out a picture or whatever. Any of that opens up that gateway in your house to that higher intuition in yourself, and that's what all of these things represent. And that shit will heal you.
Okay, let's go to take another caller, 718 area code. Yes, hello, caller, are you there?
Print out a picture or whatever. Any of that opens up that gateway
hello?
To that higher intuition in yourself. That's all of these things.
That's that. Let's take another.
Yeah, he might. That person might have been just listening.
Yes, hello, caller. Are you there? Okay, not there either. All right.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. Hello.
Hello. You can hear me?
Yes.
Hi. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Hi, Panic. How are you?
What up? This is Athena.
Yeah, what's good?
What up, sweetie?
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I was just listening to what the last guy was saying. You wasn't talking about me when you were saying the female that went through that?
Well, I'm glad you said it before I did. Yeah,
okay.
I was talking about you.
Yeah, that was me.
Would you speak a little bit on what you did?
Oh, wow. Okay, I got to go back into the archives now. Well, at the beginning, as you know, I was just somewhat getting it. Well, I really wasn't conscious about too much, not where I'm at now. What happened to me, I was diagnosed with bipolar, schizoaffective, or schizo, whatever they call it. And for one part of it, I never claimed it. That was one thing. They kept saying I was in denial and this, that, and third. I don't know what it was. My spirit was like, don't claim it. So I just kept, denying it. Anyway, along with that, I was smoking weed, abusing the weed like crazy. But anyway, how I got through it, I started reading a lot about the Egyptian deities, and I felt a connection to it anyway from when I was younger. But once the information started, presenting itself, I started indulging myself in it. I spent the whole summer in the house just finding anything I could on, the Egyptian deities and my connection to it. And what led me to that was when my grandfather had made the transition a year after his death. That's when I began hearing voices, like as if somebody was in the room. It was like spirits just like talking to me. And it was this woman, and she kept telling me, baby, you got to wake up. And I'm laying there, and I'm looking around like I am up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and who is this? I'm thinking I'm bugging here, literally, like, what is going on? And she was like, no, you're not. You're not up. And I'm like, yes, I am, So anyway, make a long story short, she told me that I needed to start reading all I can about Egypt because I was being lied to. Then that's when my grandfather came through and told me everything that I've been taught was a lie and how he's not dead. And from there, that's when a lot of things began spiraling because I was born and raised into Christianity, so I had a deep belief system in it. And for those of you who are just coming in, and you have to realize that it's going to shatter. It literally shattered for me. It wasn't pretty at first. It was nights I couldn't sleep because when you believe in something to be true, and then your higher self is going to challenge you on everything that you thought was true. And once it starts revealing and opening up things, and you start being like, wow, that's why it's very scary. I didn't want to go outside. I spent the whole summer in the house. All I did was go to the store to get a bag and a Dutch and came back in and blazed up. And just sat here listening to the spirits. And it was pretty cool. None of them really told me to do anything, like, detrimental to myself. But it was certain things like they would have me do. Like, I would notice the wall it would look real, like, it would change. Like, I would see particles of light or, like, energy bursting through. They would have me sit in my living room and just watch the cat. I have 2 cats, mind you. And the woman, I never asked her name, but the feminine energy kept telling me to watch the cats, and I just observed them, just sat there and watched, and they would come up to me, look me dead in my eye, and I'm staring at them. And at certain points, I would get really scared, because then she would say, watch, I'm going to show you something. And then as soon as she say that, I would get scared, and then if she couldn't show it to me, then I had to work on dropping fear. That was a big part, the fear. Especially around that time, I began really channeling a lot of Sekhmet's energy, and that is a very powerful energy. And at first, I really didn't understand how it can work for or against you, depending on your level of fear as well as your anger that you already personally own. Because coming into the knowledge, you get really angry to find out everything you've been taught was a lie. First thing you want to do is take niggas' heads off.
When you invested so much time into what it is you think you know.
Yeah.
And see, this is key, Rich. What she's telling you, what she's saying is what I hear all the time. And actually, I think that's what we need to talk about a little bit more. More when you start talking to the spirits and start getting an alternative reality. Yeah. That's what we need to talk about. Because when you see, these questions is not even getting me in the zone. And I've talked to all these people one-on-one, and they've gotten big-time revelations because most of the people I talk to have come to realize in some sort of way, like the story she just told you, however they get there, they get to realize there's other fucking worlds. Not in these worlds, when you experience them, they supersede you coming back with that damn dumbass question, how do you pay your rent? And all that kind of shit, and why don't you stay here and not on Jupiter? Shit. It just supersedes it. You just see a more holistic picture. All that shit, well, Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and them shit, I talk to them niggas anytime I want to. And they ain't talking that shit. They not even talking the shit that they did when they incarnated here. It was for that time, and it's over. So it is, once you start talking and seeing that other world, you become a new entity. All that Egyptian that niggas is trying to wear, you start becoming these things. That's the alchemical change that these things, these symbols were for. They were supposed to talk, these symbols, these hieroglyphs are supposed to talk directly to your DNA to have you start experiencing these worlds. A lot of people have now intellectualized and talked themselves out of the experience. So busy trying to only looking at this information to figure out a way to explain it to other people when they're not really absorbing it themselves. So this sister, and it's funny. I was talking about her, and she's the one who called. She was telling you they diagnosed her with that. She never accepted it, so that's another thing for that other brother. Don't accept that bullshit that they telling you. Give him saying, I like the fact that he couldn't even remember the name of that bullshit that they call him. Don't accept that shit, and ultimately, that's one of the things I was telling them. It may be a certain spiritual energy trying to rise in him that they calling crazy, and they're trying to medicate to keep dumb the fuck down. So that to say, so here you have a testimony where this shit actually works. This actually shit supersedes any of that bullshit, that sickness, and anything. So I meant to ask, do you have a question, Athena?
She's not there no more.
Oh, okay. She probably had a question. She did ask me a question. She gave me a question. Oh, she asked me about out of body experience, which is kind of in the realm of it. Every night you go to sleep, you have an out of body experience. It's just that the difference is you just don't remember the shit. Now, there was a sister that I used to deal with from Jersey. She was telling me when she grew up she was really abused. I mean to the level, she said her pops used to tie her to the bed for like 3 days, beat her with a bike chain. And she said she knew how to actually leave her body. And she used to see him doing this. She used to leave her body, see him doing this, and used to be laughing at the shit. I was like, God damn. Wow. And this was a couple of years ago. And one time, I was sleeping next to her ass, and I woke up, I seen this motherfucker sitting over her goddamn body and just pushed me back into sleep. Man, I actually lay next to this motherfucker, and scratches and shit be on me in the next morning and all kind of shit. Now, so the out-of-body experience always happened. You just don't, of course, she didn't remember. You just don't remember it. So the astral traveling techniques and practicing astral traveling and which will lead you to lucid dreams, what happens is you bring more of your physical memory into the spirit world instead of leaving it behind with that end of the day, end of work, going to sleep shit. You bring it into the spirit world, and then when you come out, you remember more of the dream in more of its lucid state instead of the wild symbolic state. And you're able to, and dealing with your symbols, you're able to deal and decode symbology. So astral traveling would be the technique to start realizing out-of-body experiences. And there's books on my page, and I've always given out this book. I can't remember the guy's name. Is Astral Dynamics is a good one, but I'm sure any of those astral travel books that you could just Google, you can find techniques. But one of the easiest one is that Astral Dynamics. It'll show you techniques, step-by-step exercises that you can do. I can't remember the author, Bruce something, but it's on my MySpace page. Techniques, step-by-step things that you can do to learn how to astral travel, become more effective. This will tip into lucid dreams. And lucid dreams, you'll just, when you dream.
But for those who don't know, what do you mean by lucid dream?
Lucid dreams is very key in your spiritual path to get spiritual, for your spiritual breakthrough, and to bring back usable spiritual information for yourself and sometimes perhaps others. Lucid dreams are when you dream and you are aware that you are dreaming. Your dreams, you'll see online, they'll say try to move your hand or try to change the dream or the dynamics in the dreams. You don't have to do that. When I started tapping into lucid dreams, the world started breaking down. I started seeing shit in the dreams and become aware of it, and then would start to reach for shit that I have on Earth, like camera phones to take pictures with. I was waking up and trying to physically talk, and so the two worlds were merging together. And what I started to know in the dreams, I would be in the dream and start questioning what I was seeing in the dream based upon conscious information that I studied. So I was like, well, that's not supposed to be like that, this and that and the other. So the world started breaking down. So then the next phase of it, I would be in a dream, and I would almost be like an audience member. And the dream would now, instead of becoming flashes, I was there with a cat and a feather. Then I fell off the roof. Then I was drinking a strawberry soda. It would become more like a movie. And when it became more like a movie, I was able to understand in the same way we decode movies, I was able to decode dreams for their spiritual message. And that would be based upon either the information I was dealing with, the question I asked, or the individual, the ancestors, Harriet Tubman, this one, that one, and the other. So it would show me in symbol form, but you are more aware. In other words, in the dream world, where you bring, quite simply, to bring back usable information that you can use, spiritual information, for your growth, not to pay your rent. You know what I'm saying? People have to, for this work, if you want to pay your rent, just go get your GED or whatever the fuck it is you need and go to work. If you want to pay your rent or do your hustle, whatever you would have done anyway. If you want to transform yourself with higher knowledge, get into magic. They don't exist in the same, you know what I mean? It's not the same thing. And I don't have no money problems.
Well, let me ask you. One time I was in a dream. I had a dream, and I was in a room with somebody. I don't really know who it was, but it seemed like we was in like a room that was like full of gold. So I was loose. I was aware. I was dreaming while I was dreaming, and I knew that I was about to wake up. So I told him, I said, damn, well, I'm about to wake up now. He said, so the guy gave me a gold coin. He said, well, here, take this with you. So he gave me put the gold coin in my hand. So I knew I was waking up. So, I prepared I embraced myself to wake up. So when I woke up, I opened up my hand. I didn't have a gold coin. Now, I was sleeping at my girl's house. So about 15 minutes later, sometime I walk home, but I was running late. I was running late to work. So I said, let me just take a cab. So I end up taking the cab. I paid the cab driver. Something happened where I didn't have the exact change, so the cab driver owed me back $1. So instead of giving me $1, the cab driver gave me a gold coin. Now I never ever in my life got a gold coin from a cab driver before. So I didn't know whether I was just looking too much into it or was this a reflection from that dream. So I never.
You motherfucking right.
Yeah, I never spent the gold.
You see, your spirit already know not to spend that. See, what you just did, what you just said, was what every motherfucker dealing with magic knows how to decode and how the spirit talks back to your ass. See, the regular niggas who are saying, you need the money, you need this, we need a gun, the chemtrails, they are not privy to that experience. And because they're not privy to it and they don't know how it speaks back to them, either because they talk themselves out of it, or they keep calling it spookism, or they keep calling it fear, or they just too goddamn idiotic. That's how it talks to you. Listen closely now, what you said. You were in a room full of gold. So when you're in a room full of gold, it represents prosperity. It represents gold is the highest frequency. AU, which is a tomb, which is Anubis. It is telling you spiritual prosperity, and whatever you were dealing with or doing or contemplating doing at the time, whoever that was in that room, could have been an ancestor, could have been one of the deities, probably Anubis or somebody, said, motherfucker, you on the right path, and gave you a coin because you were on the right path as a symbol of your prosperity. And then, because it is so real, it then trickles down to this reality. And that's the whole shit we talking about. How to make what's happening in the spirit world, which you get through your dreams, and you'll be able to get them when you awake. What happened in the spirit world, trickle down to your reality. And so if you could see that process there, when you're dealing with magical techniques, what you're doing is saying, okay, well, if it can happen in the dream, then reality, maybe I could dream up any goddamn thing I want to dream up for my reality. Laws of attraction. Simple, laws of attraction. You dream up your goddamn dream car, your dream house.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? You still have, when they was doing the sex magic, they had to still think of what they wanted. It's all, then they'll tell you, this is the illusion, this is the dream. It is the dream. It's just a denser reality, so it takes longer for these things to materialize. The faster they materialize, the more powerful it is. Now, let me tell you, in the dreams, you could be witnessing the dream, which is a spiritual message. You could be active in the dream as well. There's times I was active in dreams, which I know I'm active in the spirit world. And you is something, I would say, I would try to think, but it's not really necessary, what it is you were dealing with, contemplating, asking, or have done at that time, because you just got a spiritual confirmation it was the right thing to do. Anybody who's dealing with spirituality would know. Just like, but I ain't spending that motherfucker, because your spirit is telling you. You get what I'm saying? The only thing that would keep you out of that is the fucking intellect. If you went on your pure intuition alone, you would see more of what you're seeing, and you will become holistic in yourself in terms of in terms of what it is you're becoming. Your holistic understanding will come online. Most people will second guess that shit. It's a coincidence. But read metaphysics. There's no such thing as a coincidence. It is called synchronicity. What happened in the spirit world synchronized with the physical world. And that's what anyone who's dealing with any sort of magical path is trying to do. Synchronize their greater reality with this reality. Not for homes, not for sitting back under the sycamore tree, not for economics, better business for the people. No, this shit was always about self-transformation, self-realization. You were born here by yourself, and you came on a mission by yourself. And that was to step away from your higher self, come into your lower self, to realize what it is your higher self is. The whole movie Coming from America is that story. You're already the prince, you're already the king, you already got people wiping your butt, and three girls in the tub. But you still get bored with that kind of shit. So you come to America, you go through the adventure, and you bring that jewel back to the kingdom and marry again. Simple as that. It's the same process coming here and coming out. So those spiritual realizations are what you're here for, not physical realization. I mean, at the end of the day, if you bring this spirit, if you bring this world back to whatever it is, this black utopia that people are trying to go for, you're still on a planet that can possibly become this bullshit again. And I'm going to a place which is unbreakable, which has nothing to do with, you're only in a dimension. You're only in an aspect of the world. You take the tree of life, the first tier, the first three are the first upper triangle, and that's the world of the real, you could say. And even that's something that's fallen, and that's where you realize yourself. The other triangle going down, the other triad is enfolded. And then there's another enfolded triad, and then there's Malkuth. You're in a copy of a copy, and then an afterthought. If you think you touched the tree and ate some goddamn Doritos, you ain't even did it yet. Only from your human perspective. You get what I'm saying? So all of that shit to say, what happened to you in that dream is the confirmation anyone dealing with any form of spirituality should be looking for. That is yourself, your DNA telling you, nigga, you are giving us what we need, so we're giving you what you need. People want something physical. You know, they think the jewels of this shit is money and all, but it has nothing to do with that. You need to do two separate things for money. If you want to walk through a wall, shit, I suggest you need to study Black Herman, who did walk through a goddamn wall. If you really want to come to, think about it. If you read Black Herman shit, they used to put this motherfucker in jail, and this nigga be walking around Harlem later. So there's a nigga that walked through a wall. You get what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be doing that shit now. You get what I'm saying? How irrelevant is that in the bigger picture? You going to go through all of this goddamn turmoil, tripe, when you're supposed to be turning into a diamond. And if a diamond to you is just somebody who can materialize money that don't mean shit, then how simple-minded are you? You get what I'm saying? How simple-minded are you? You know what I mean? So all of that shit to say, I don't even know how to address somebody like that, the same way I don't know how to address a pack of monkeys and tell them why they should, shower and brush their fucking teeth. And I wouldn't expect monkeys to address me and ask me, you know, what does fucking Osiris mean or some shit like that. I don't expect them to do that. They're in their frequency of thought. So this is not about debating. This is about realizing for yourself. So that dream that you had was the perfect example here, because the dream now is personal. It ain't got nothing to do with no fucking lecture circuit. It ain't got nothing to do with what this lecturer said versus what that lecturer said. It ain't got nothing to do with confirming it in the book. All the information that you're supposed to be gathering, you're looking for confirmations within yourself. You're looking for something tangible. And the reason why they still show that whoever was with you, and homeboys, ancestors, deity, probably your own self, actually, they still had to show you something physical, because early on, they're trying to prove to you. They're all screaming to your ass, look, nigga, please, get with this shit, man. You get with this shit, we can help you. Mm-hmm. But second-guessing it, the fear, shutting it down, they can't do shit for you. They only really can see and work with light, and that's the light that you're trying to obtain at these shit. Conspiracy theory is not going to give you light. It's simple as that. And in fact, the lecturers can only inspire or inspire that spark in you. You're really going to have to search for that goddamn light. And you're going to have to realize the light in yourself. What's enlightening to you may not be enlightening to me. So that alone tells you that this path is yours. Give them saying, what you find hot, I may not. So that alone tells you that this path is yours and yours alone. You find what it is that makes you Twitter. So arguing with each other is really irrelevant. Get what I'm saying? Because if you are in whatever group, and let's say you'll say the Moors, and someone's saying, well, you don't need this paperwork, someone's saying you do. You're not supposed to take up that argument as a person dealing with any spiritual power. Because I would say the person who says he needs the paperwork, his spirit is saying, look, I can't do nothing for you beyond what you're saying. So we are telling you, you better get that goddamn paperwork or whatever it is. I'm not talking about if it works or if it doesn't work. If they feel they need to get it, then they need to get it, because that's going to be their protection, because that's what the spirit is saying. The more you ensconce yourself in this shit, the more energy you build up, and the more earthly, these things that been earthly protection you don't need. The more I dealt with crystals, the more I got deeper into them, the more I didn't need to deal with them no more. You're supposed to be going through these things, all of these things. The more I dealt with sigils, didn't need them no more. I'll use them time to time, but didn't need them. It was all about going through and seeing and these things for your transformation. I had to go do a whole heap of shit to talk to them at one point. Now it's not really a problem. I can just watch it. I can watch a goddamn movie and get them. It's easy. But anybody could do it. It doesn't make me no more special. It's only in your own mind that would shut you down. It's only you that's shutting you down. One of the greatest movies by Guy Ritchie, Madonna's old boyfriend or whatever, and Andre 3000 is in the movie. The same dude from Crank is in the movie. It's called Revolver. Don't walk, run and get that shit. That is, and I don't want to spoil it because it's one of them surprise endings, but one of the heaviest metaphysical movies that's not hidden, not the hidden they just say the shit straight out. What it is about the ego, and what it is about fear, and what it is that keeps you outside of this shit. You get what I'm saying? What it is that keeps you outside of this shit, and it's nothing but your own self. It ain't the nigga that you trying to argue with, prove to. You, the only person you have to convince or debate with is your own self. This is your path, your journey, your transformation alone. It's your chakras, it's your heart, it's your goddamn pineal, it's your DNA, it's your kundalini. It ain't the people's. Get what I'm saying? It ain't the babies. They have their own heart, chakras, kundalini, and they came here to do their work. So everyone's here to do their goddamn work. And it's key once you break through that spiritual world, because you see a more holistic understanding of what it is this consciousness is. You get what I'm saying? What it is this consciousness is. And it ain't got nothing to do, or it had, see, when you take like everybody, well, Marcus Garvey said this, and Harriet Tubman said this. They said it in the time that they needed to say that shit. You get what I'm saying? All to bring forth, in this day, where you could talk about, you could go to goddamn online and find out worldwide information in one fell stroke. There was a time you had to travel to Bangladesh to find out what the fuck was happening in Bangladesh. Now all you have to do is go online. So all of these people did what they had to do at the time, and I've talked to them, and that is the case, to bring forth us at the head of this shit to close the goddamn show without ancient information. And it is self-realization. It is not for the masses. The masses in Egypt were not privy to shit like this. It was the goddamn priesthood, and whatever initiate can go to whatever level they could, and whatever. And you got the same thing going on now. And I could tell you this: when all that Obama shit was going on, a lot of them ancestors came through pro-Obama. They got a picture down. There's a white boy. Oddly enough, Richard Hoagland. Richard Hoagland is a white boy. He did the Face on Mars shit. I know you sell the information, so you probably know who he is. He did the Face on Mars tape. He also stood up at one of them white conferences and said, did you people know that black people are talking about Egypt as well? But they're saying a whole different thing from us. Basically got laughed off the stage. But that only proves he knows some nigga shit. He got a whole tape now on Obama, some pro-Obama shit. Saying, and this nigga called him everything but Jesus. And all that shit's on YouTube right now. But he, and I see how they speak to them in code. He told his white people, y'all know what y'all want to do? He said, look at the world. They're all cheering for him. He said, what y'all want to do is not criticize shit about him. This is what he told white people. Y'all motherfuckers need to start cheering too. What he was basically telling them is get into the frequency, because the frequency that the world feels about this nigga is what's happening now. Is he Illuminati? Is he the bad guy? Is he conspiring? Who gives a shit? Anybody who's spiritual knows it's about symbols. In other words, is that a magic coin that you have from the cab driver? Hell fucking no. But it's a spiritual symbol based upon what you got from the spirit world. So it becomes a gateway for something else. If you spend it at the store, they're not going to give you $1 million. You'll get a bag of potato chips and a Snapple with that coin. That's all it's worth in the physical world. So Obama may be worth a bag of potato chips and some goddamn, honey and onion potato chips. That's all he's worth in the physical world. But in the spiritual world, the same way that coin symbolized, and it means what it means to you, it symbolized, Obama is that same symbol that a spiritual energy is going through. Anybody dealing with the spirit is knowing what everybody's saying, and I deal hard with them. And they know what these realms are saying, what these dimensions are saying, what all these dads are saying, what Khalid Muhammad is saying, because we've talked to him too directly. What he's saying is, look, it's time for all this shit to be shut the fuck down. Shut the fuck down. So physically, there's a symbol that will emerge for a gateway to line up energy. That's all this motherfucker is. If the Illuminati put them there, it's the goddamn dumbest thing they could ever done to put niggas in a symbolic position. And if they had to put niggas there instead of just more white people, then that's an indication that they losing too. If they supposed to be so high and mighty, why would they use niggas? They should just use McCain if they was winning something. So if it's a ploy to put people to sleep, but wait a minute, you talking about the same people who are never fucking awake anyway? Nah, it's a guaranteed symbol. Every Harriet Tubman, goddamn Crispus Attucks, and all these motherfuckers is coming back some Obama shit. And ultimately, what they were talking about is the symbol that he represents, because he only represents end-time events that's happening on the spirit world that will eventually trickle down to the physical world, and all this shit is being realized now. The same white boy, Richard Hoagland, saying, look, we in that goddamn 2012 phase right now, and the symbol that emerged was Obama. This motherfucker showed pictures. There's a phenomenon with pictures. Some people will take pictures and these orbs will show up. They've been talking about these orbs. You know, the skeptics will say, it's just the light and blah, blah, blah. Spiritual motherfuckers and Wiccan motherfuckers will say, no, those are spirits all around. This motherfucking Richard Hoagland and somebody, and my man Shiro posted it on my page. This motherfucking Richard Hoagland showed a picture with thousands of these orbs at when Obama made that acceptance speech. And the white boy said something that was just so simple. He said, well, if he's here to fuck us up, why are all of these spiritual orbs around him? Now, I've been saying that the ancestors been real, all the ancestors, mine, that whole realm, I've been seeing these motherfuckers move out since the Obama shit. Move out, go into higher levels. Some of them came down, a whole bunch of shit. But I didn't realize, I seen a news article, and I wonder if it's still happening, that the sunspots had stopped around the same time I was seeing these ancestors be stirred up. It's like ashes, he's the symbol for ashes to start moving. Does he know it? I don't know. I don't give a shit. It does not matter. You get what I'm saying? That's almost asking, did the cab driver know about your dream and gave you the coin? Mm-hmm. You're not even asking about that more than the symbol of the cab drivers never give me these coins. That's all you really need to know in it. You get what I'm saying? That's what makes it a little bit more special than trying to find out the history of the goddamn cab driver. Was the cab driver really born in Hawaii? You know, was his mother this and his father really Malcolm X? You know, was the cab driver's father Malcolm X? You know, just how simple you said, that has nothing to do with it. The symbol that a cab driver never gives you this type of money means more than who the fucking cab driver is. So the symbol of there never being black people in this position is big enough for the masses. The masses line up a frequency of this hope and all this type of thing in their DNA, which lines them up with current spiritual events of transformation in their DNA, because they are so Obama and so goddamn Michelle, and that's all they need to be. The masses always need somebody to lead them. That's the whole story of Moses. Always need somebody to lead them. I mean, look, we in a Moses Exodus cycle for the masses of people. First of all, Martin Luther King, if you get past the politics, I know all the secret agent spy stuff, but you got to remember, these people came down here to do certain shit, and they have to play with the rules of this goddamn planet. So 40 years later, you have Obama. Now, you have Martin Luther King saying the same Moses shit. Moses looked upon Canaan but couldn't come in. You have Martin Luther King saying, I've been to the mountaintop. I may not get there with you. And then these Israelites go through the desert 40 years in the desert, which is nothing but the Doth and the abyss. Then 40 years later, you have Obama. Martin Luther King came straight through. He said when Charlton Heston left, the fake white Moses, by the way, Martin Luther King said they were fucking that cracker up in the spirit world. Another good movie you can see on this shit is Sublime. Sublime with Lawrence Hilton Jacobs and some white boy. Sublime. I know Bobby talked about it. They show you in the physical world, you were just a regular nigga, but in the spirit world, Lawrence Hilton Jacob was tearing this motherfucker up. Because that's your power, that's your technology, that's your science. Not no fucking gun. White boy got a gun that can shoot around the corner. That shit's on YouTube. You ain't getting nowhere with that. Your power is there. You get what I'm saying? After 40 years, you get this Obama that emerged. Martin Luther King starts coming through, started telling me all this Exodus shit that's happening, and the energy, the fake illusionary energy that was built up with Charlton Heston as this Moses. Remember, Charlton Heston was standing by Martin Luther King at that I Have a Dream speech, or one of them, or the March on Washington. Charlton Heston narrated one of Martin Luther King, one of these documentaries on him, trying to fake the funk as a Moses, and always in these biblical stories as this ancient man. So he dies. That energy still exists. That energy, Martin Luther King said, just put it on Obama. At the same time, 888, the black Moses died, Isaac Hayes, because you need him to be that light for the exodus of people. When you saying that, he ain't saying that, and they dubbing this guy for nothing. It has a spiritual meaning as well as its physical meaning. So he said, no, he went along, and that energy is going to guide these people, the masses who are just sitting there going, Obama, because all of us got to get up out this shit. The conscious motherfuckers is worse off. The motherfuckers who is just sitting around cheering for Obama, they are lined up in a new day because they are saying words that don't even exist in the conscious community no more. Hope, new day, revelation, we got this. Now the conscious motherfuckers are sitting around going, Illuminati, chips in your head, we ain't gonna make it. Move to Canada, nigga. So we saying that, and these niggas are talking about, we got a bright day. Now, of course, they mean physically, and they think gas prices is going to go down, and all of this kind of ridiculous shit. But that's all they got to think. You get what I'm saying? That's all they got to think, and that's all they need to think for them to line themselves up with the energy. Remember, happiness is happiness, no matter how you get it. You get what I'm saying? So you could be happy because you was at church, but but if your mama came home from church and she was happy, you know she gonna boil some greens, and that's all good for me. You know what I'm saying? That's all good for me. You know what I mean? Because she's happy.
I don't mean to cut you off because you in such a zone, but we got
that's the zone. I wish I would have gotten into this zone earlier. I wish I would have gotten into this zone because I usually stay in this zone when I'm one-on-one with people. And they get their revelations. That's why I talked briefly to you last night. But really, I got to be in the zone with a person so I could make that spiritual connection with them, and then the shit just becomes a gateway. When I'm answering just regular questions, you're gonna get regular answers. But when I get into the zone, see that when Athena called, she's one of the people that I talk to. That's the zone. You get what I'm saying? That's the zone. So, because remember, I'm dealing with like minds.
Now we only got 20 minutes left. I wanna get to a few more calls.
Okay,
so
let's
let me see the brother calling from 347 area code. Yes, hello, caller, are you there?
Yeah, hello, you hearing me?
Yes. You have a question?
Hey, Panic, Rich, how y'all doing? This is Joel, a.k.a. the Shivanu. Let me ask you a question. All right, I have two questions for you. One, white people. They have white people. I was talking to Brother Rich about this yesterday. White people, they get in the sun and they not burning up. Their mother white, their father white, but they burn up. But when they get up in the sun, they don't burn up. I know it could be spiritual. A lot of white people ain't white because of DNA, they say. But I want to know, do you have anything with actual evidence on it to show, well, this ancient text say this or this? Because I did my research and I haven't found it yet. The next,
can I ask you a question, brother? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think I know where Rich was going to go, but I was going to ask, what was the actual question, that they get in the sun and they don't or do burn up?
No. I know it has some of them that burn up. I mean, burn up blisters and everything. And then some of them, they just loving the sun. They not putting on no suntan lotion.
Oh, well, because, that's quite simple. I mean, like it or not, some white people do have some form of melanin. And really, the sun is actually not your friend. Now, no more we the sun people and all of that kind of shit. It's not your friend. We the melanin people. If you didn't have melanin, the sun would be fucking you up too. When the sun hits you, the melanin comes to the surface to protect you from that bullshit. This sun is a lesser sun. In later dynastic times, this sun became Ra, and everybody worshipped it because just as motherfuckers slip today, they were slipping back then. The sun that they were worshiping was actually the Sirius star system. And as they couldn't visualize that system anymore, Osiris became dead, Sirius, and this sun became the sun god Horus and Ra and all of these kind of things. So all you're talking about is genetics. White people is nothing but just lower down the genetic pool, and with their lack of melanin, it doesn't culture them. If they have melanin, they just be another group of dumb niggas. If they didn't exist, it'll be there's so many black people here that's dumb, but they not as savage because melanin cultures your ass. So they're not as savage, but they're still got issues, if you will. So because these motherfuckers, see, in fact, it's funny, me and Bobby was talking about this because Bobby said there was a text where Yahoo was a priesthood, and they didn't know how to put souls in the bodies. And so these white people don't have souls and blah, 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 blah. That was one way to look at it. So as we was talking, I was like, well, what if that same priesthood didn't also know how to put melanin in the body? I said, that's the only reason you would see him standing out so much like a sore thumb and him being so against everything. Because the melanin as the life force at least puts you in the loop of shit. So that's why he's so out the loop. So some of them just got melanin. You know, they fuck niggas and slaves. So the melanin will come to the surface. They love the sun and whatever. But at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? I mean, you know, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? All what I'm talking about is self-transformation, and you have to realize you are the sun or you are that star, and you're going for it, and you're trying to resurrect your star energy or re-illuminate or however you want to call it. You're trying to, I mean, tanning on the beach. I don't care about that shit no more than working at UPS or some shit. You know, they have to try to become niggas, and that's all they've been trying to do. That's why they use our mythology in all their goddamn movies.
Okay, let's get to another caller. 916 area code. Yeah, caller, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, brother Rich, brother Panic, Hotep.
How you doing,
what's
brother?
up?
Hotep.
I'm doing good, man. Yo, East Side of White, Sacramento. What's up, Panic?
Hey, okay, what's up?
It's all love. Hey, man, keep it going. The number one key at this time, as you mentioned, is the self-transformation. And
right.
You mentioned something about, you know, going diamond, the diamond body, breaking the body down into Merkaba, where you're your own starship. You know, elaborate on that, Black. Just keep that going and, you know,
okay.
right on show, fellas.
Okay. Ultimately, even Crowley said it. You know, I heard some people say you are actually your own star. You are actually your own light. So all of these things are just different ways to say they're talking about your soul. Your soul is that spark of light or that divine light that's connected to everything. It is the primal force. So what you're trying to do is feed your soul energy. And that energy is light. And that light is knowledge. And there's many ways to get to that knowledge or to that light. And so the diamond body, the transformation, is only talking about the process of you actually dying and not becoming human or falling the third dimension. You get what I'm saying? So it's just fancy ways of talking about this whole entire process that you're coming through, your whole journey through this goddamn Dewat and all this kind of Dua Mentor. So the whole process, it happens personally and it happens collectively. Collectively, you get the slave trade, the middle passes slave trade, then the masses going to Marcus Garvey, then the masses going to Malcolm X, and the masses becoming Black Panthers, and the masses becoming Pan-African, and the masses becoming health conscious, and all of this. There's a mass transformation, but all of that is becoming the diamond body. In a word, alchemy. In a word, alchemy. So the alchemy that you're supposed to be doing is in your DNA, is transferring your DNA. So you would say from where you're from, you would say the DNA is fine, but when you fall into the human body and into the brain, into this ignorance, the DNA, it does become deformed. You'll see it as the physical DNA, but that's for a purpose, only for you to walk the path back to your perfection. Same thing with coming to America. Eddie Murphy is so simple. Eddie Murphy is the prince. He's guaranteed a seat on the throne. So why the fuck would he come to America and work at McDonald's? They're telling you your story. You come to the ghetto, you work in McDonald's, You know what I mean? You go to church, all that shit was in there. Let them have our princely robes. We don't need them here. So you're not supposed to be the king on earth. You're not supposed to go back to no black utopia. We ain't supposed to kick no cracker off the planet. The meek inherit the earth. Let them have that shit. We're not supposed to do none of that. Let them have our princely robes. You can have it. So when you make these crackers all up in our shit, let them. They supposed to. We left that bullshit behind. We supposed to be on some new shit. We sitting around still talking about, I wonder if Noble Drew Ali would approve of this. That man is gone forever. You know what I mean? You talk to him, that nigga ain't talking that new shit. These niggas show me orgy worlds. All that conservative shit. Them niggas show me orgy worlds. They're priesthoods. They all together. Father Alive, Malcolm X, all them niggas is together. Listen, so this alchemical thing is supposed to be realized. When this motherfucker went to America, it was only Eddie Murphy, I'm talking about in the movie, to find something new, and was represented by Lisa to bring back to the kingdom. So as a collective coming down here, the primal, we the African, we the original people. That's cold, nigga. That's the cold, the original form. To become the diamond, you have to go through some pressure, some shit. So the best of the best came to America. Now, I do want to get this shit in about fear. And this comes from a young brother named Ty. And he asked me this question. This probably was the only one that gave me a question that stayed on the goddamn subject. One of the most advanced motherfuckers I've met, 19 years old. So that theory about teaching the goddamn babies, you know, depend on what you call babies. What I call babies is motherfuckers who's young in knowledge. Some of these kids are way smarter than you, but you're trying to teach them something, you dumb their asses down. So Ty asked, because this is another aspect of fear, and it comes through the magic shit too, so I don't want to seem like magic is some pristine place that's not untouched by this fear or it's your salvation, because then I just become another group monger. Within it, there's this phenomenon, or there's the old system of getting what do they call that shit? Going through the goddamn initiations to get initiated in this shit. Now, they'll tell you, oh, you can't deal with the magic. It'll fuck you up. If you're not initiated, you need, same kind of shit with the chemtrails. You need to wear funny hats and all kind of shit, because they'll come down on your head, they'll tear you up, and all this kind of shit. That is the most silliest goddamn shit ever. First and foremost, it was for an old paradigm. And there is no one saying, I feel so strongly about your initiation, I'm going to do it for free. So the shit is about money and control. And ultimately, you make agreements with these spirits. Agreements. Just like you make agreements with your girlfriend or your goddamn boyfriend. So if you agree to get initiated under a motherfucker, they're going to treat you as such. There was a sister out of New Orleans, got initiated. She told me one of the initiations for the voodoo, you have to sleep on a rock or lay on a rock for 2 days, 3 days on a rock with a rock pillow on your left side. And this is symbolizing you being born again. That's fucking utter nonsense. And she paid $5,000 for that shit to lay on a rock and somehow feels closer to this shit. Now, it makes more sense. In Africa, if we were in a village, and we are in this village, and everyone is basically the same. There is no division, like on 125th Street, or, this one is that one. How do you know someone really is going to go all the way if you start teaching them some mysteries? You would have to make an initiation system. I would say if I got 10 motherfuckers who's talking the same hot shit, the motherfucker who can lay on the rock the longest, that's the motherfucker I'm going to teach. Get what I'm saying? I'll just make the shit up as I go along. If I had 10 motherfuckers who I couldn't tell because we were in the same culture, same upbringing, we have the same respect for grandmothers, mothers, and so on, such. If I was brought up in that goddamn culture, what I would do is say, well, goddamn, there's no way of me telling, let's just say Bob versus John, who's more dedicated, because they got the same goddamn mannerism. Let's see who could lay on this goddamn rock. I'll be making niggas do all sorts of shit. If you left it up to me, I said, shit, I want to see a nigga who can eat the most sand. I'm initiated, you know what I mean, eating sand and shit. It's utterly ridiculous. It's another fear tactic for control. You talking a nigga's ego, or some nigga who got initiated, paid all that fucking money, their ego won't let you go. God damn it, I didn't have to sleep on the rock. In Palo, there's a ceremony called cutting a motherfucker. They just slice you all up. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Sister hit me. She was like, and we got a chance to talk, because that's how I usually talk one-on-one, mostly with the sisters. And I could feel in her spirit she was asking me. She's like, oh, it's great what you do. It's great. It's nice to see this here. It's good to see that. And yeah, I'm about to get cut. So you know, I know it's going to. So I knew she was really asking, should she get cut? So something in the spirit said, answer her long in detail. So you out your mind. To get cut, to get with the Palos, is like if I was at a bar, you like me, telling this to the sister, you wanted to get with me, and I said, well, let me tell you something. I'm going to have to cut you from head to toe so you could be my lady. You would think I was a fucking psychopath. What's the goddamn difference now? You got to be psycho to cut yourself into something, to think you have somehow lined yourself up with something spiritual. You know, I'll kick your ass for free if you want it. You know what I'm saying? I'll fuck you up for free. You know what I mean? And tell you, goddamn, you've been initiated in a sect, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'll smack your ass around all goddamn day. You know, if that's what you think you need to do. And so why won't the spirits do that shit? Of course they will. I had a Orisha girlfriend early on. Motherfucker, straight up slave. She went to Cuba to get made, paid all this fucking elaborate amounts of money she had to cut off all her hair. She's walking around with a baldy. She couldn't touch nobody for a year. So she couldn't fuck for a year. Couldn't look in the mirror for a year. Had to wear all white for a fucking year. Now, when I got with her, she had her little pots and shit set up. We couldn't fuck in front of them, curse in front of them. I'm like, the people who made this shit was naked, you know what I mean, when they was doing the shit. I bend over the time I shoot. You got to change your ass the other way. Totally slaves to them niggas. It's the agreement that you made. And so how do these practitioner niggas, and you have to get out the practitioner level. People think that's deep, but that's only another system that you lock down into. When I talk to the Orishas, and these motherfuckers think they talking to Orishas, they talking to fragments. In 2007, I had the entire year, I moved the Orishas out of this reality. They all got new names. What's left behind is just pathways, old fragments and old paths that niggas is tapping into. Now, that's a guarantee. That's a guarantee. The Orishas are gone. So niggas is tapping into fragments and old deranged forms of these goddamn Orishas, telling them whatever the fuck they want them to do. You know what I'm saying? Don't fuck for a year. That's ridiculous. And them niggas laugh. Them niggas laugh while they do this shit. And when them niggas came in 2007, they told me all the shit that they was doing that was fucked up. Finally, in the late 2007 for Transformation, a Legba came, and this nigga told me in this form, he said, write the word Jesus. So I wrote J-E-S-U-S. He said, cross off J. Cross off the J. He said, cross off the S. Cross off the telling me to do all of this shit. And in the middle, you still have E-S-U, Ishu. He said, I was Jesus the whole time, motherfucker. I said, God damn. I said, so every time these niggas crying in church, oh, Jesus, 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 that was fucking a Legba getting that shit. Now, why did he confess like many others did? And that would be a whole show within itself, because all that energy that was against us has to come back to us, because it's actually all our thought forms. It's all from our mind. So as we become one with what we're becoming, with this primal force, the primal reality, Sirius B, the world will come, and all these kind of things, as we're becoming one with that shit, all this corrupted shit must come back into us, must come back, because it's ours any motherfucking way. Same the shit in the other Eddie Murphy movie with Buddy Love. He took an aspect out his DNA and got fucked up. Well, we made white people in a cave and got fucked up. We have to even absorb that bullshit. It's ours. We have to absorb that bullshit. So that to say, what does absorb? Do it mean we have to get with them and be nice? Hell no. We have to defeat talking about these motherfuckers and being scared of it. That's all Sherman did to Buddy Love. He had to face that motherfucker without fear. He was scared through the whole movie. He had to face this motherfucker without fear. So how do you do it? How do you do it? You get over this Illuminati goddamn crap. You get over, they got our symbols on the dollar, and look what they doing, and this is the breakdown of that bullshit. You get over that bullshit. That's how you absorb it. I don't even think about white people. Them motherfuckers could, I don't care, you know what I mean? The parts of my brain that even factor them in are so little because I absorbed it. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Absorb this shit. So you're trying to become one with the quantum world, I tell you, is all connected. So you have to come to terms with all this shit is yours. Debates, arguments, you know, my God is better than your God, dark side versus the light side and all that kind of shit is so fucking irrelevant. You got to think, to a Christian, what people call in magic the light side, Wicca, is very dark to them. So what is the dark side? The dark side only represents the unknown, and it's a process of bringing things into light. You're constantly here supposed to be bringing these things into light. That's what you're trying to become conscious for. That's why you are going into these meditations and doing these rituals to make things manifest into your light. So we at the end of this process. It's not like niggas need to get with it to only realize that you just need to line up with it. A lot of people are lined up with it, but a lot of people are keeping themselves out the loop and putting themselves in a whole different class. Remember, Moses said, like Malcolm X said, I can't get there with you. Or I'm not going, and Moses said, I'm not going in Canaan with you. Because Moses represented the adept. C. Freeman L. So the masses, they get a heaven, they get a bliss, they get a peace. Canaan is Cain, the evil brother is Satan, is Set, is Satan. So Satan falling, Satan rising is the promised land, which is only your soul. So all you're talking about, the promised land, is your soul rising up out of your fucking human restraints, your human condition, or the fucking desert. So they get a bliss. But the ones who came down here to seek out their consciousness, though in the same reality, can realize a different bliss based upon them having more light. Now, that's what I believe. That's what I think. So, in other words, you becoming conscious only makes you only gets you to greater realize the reality you are now in, only to enjoy whatever your definition of bliss is. And these things called bliss, promised land, heaven, and all these things are abstract for a reason. The reason is because once you bring it into human thought, you actually fuck it up. You actually lower it. That's how bad human thought is. For instance, if you ask a monkey, you know, what do you think heaven is? Well, he's going to tell you peanuts, banana, and in every tree there's a red ass to hump. So for you, that's ridiculous. You get what I'm saying? Right, for you, that's ridiculous. So you got to understand your humanity is actually ridiculous. So when you go, I'm going to heaven and all of this kind of shit, and I'm going to do this, and there's going to be that. It's cool because you can conceptualize it, but what I like to do is say, I haven't even tasted honey yet. You get what I'm saying? I haven't even rubbed the tree yet. I haven't even rode a skateboard yet.
I don't mean to cut you off, Brother Pat. But we got 1 minute left. They just gave me the message. 1 minute left before the. But once again, you got in that zone. I ain't wanna. Yeah,
I got to get in the zone to talk, and that's what I was trying to do last night when we was talking. Pick up on that zone. I wish the zone would have came earlier, but once I'm in the zone with you, we good. So I know you was talking about doing certain things in the future. We get in that zone, we good.
Yeah, we had 2 hours, but it sure went by fast. But,
sure did.
We with Brother Panic. This show will be played over and over again on my website, www.undergroundrailroadnet.com. Brother Panic, give them your info one more time before we get cut off.
All right, most people know me on MySpace, Pandemon, myspace.com/Pandemon. You can always catch me there. And I want to say real quick, Rich gave his website. Rich sells DVDs. He's a straight-up brother. I know a lot of people ask me where to get it from. I'm saying get it from him. Good-hearted brother. I know him. So it's not just a radio guy. I know him. Good-hearted brother. He'll take care of you. He gave his website. You can support him and know you're going to get your shit, not no blank DVDs, and get grief if anything goes wrong. Rich is a good brother.
Yeah, right. So we gonna, Brother Panic's definitely gonna be on the show in the near future. Thanks for listening. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. And don't be scared of the no Illuminati either, y'all.
Yeah. Get that off your mind. And you'll
All right. Peace.
All right, brother. Peace.
I know.